can I ask you a question? If you knew then what you know now, if you knew back in November that they would crawl back on their pre-election promises and literally fulfill nothing that they put in their manifestos, if you knew in November how they would be performing come January, February, and more than likely going forward, if you knew back in November that they seemed to be more preoccupied with everything that's happening outside of Ireland as opposed to in Ireland, then answer me this one question. Would you have voted any differently? And if you didn't vote back in November, and I respect that decision, I totally disagree with it, but I respect your decision, you don't have a say. Because you were, in my opinion, a big part of why we got back in what we got back in. But having said all that, if you knew and could roll on the clock 3-4 months' time and see that nothing was going to change, would you have voted? And more importantly, would you have voted any differently? And if your answer is no, well then let me explain to you why that is because you're more than likely not involved in the hospitality sector. You're more than likely not involved in the tourism sector and indirectly involved in the tourism sector, like the guy who plays music in a bar at night for all the tourists that come in during the summer. Taxi drivers, chauffeurs, people that are driving all the tourists all around the place. If you say no, I wouldn't change my vote, you're not involved in that. If you would say no, I would still vote the same, it means mass immigration is having zero effect on you. In other words, you get up as normal, you go to work as normal, you get paid as normal, you come home as normal, and you live your life as normal, or as normal as can be. And that is why you would say, no, I'd still vote the exact same, because my life has not changed, which is one of the major problems as to how we find ourselves in the predicament that we find ourselves in right now. I'm all right, Jack. Don't really care about you. And until it comes on knocking on my door and until it starts affecting my life, well then, hey, I'm going to go with the status quo. I'm going to go with how everything is going right now. I think they're doing a great job. I think they're doing an absolute great job because I'm all right, Jack. The problem with that mentality is that roll down the line when tourism is utterly decimated, when they've destroyed everything that they're destroying right now at the moment, when it comes knocking on your door and you start shouting and screaming, you start going, hey, I need some help here. Those who are shouting and screaming now, who've been ignored right now, will turn around and go, hey, buddy, I was trying to help, but I didn't get any help back. And I'm too tired. I'm knackered. I'm destroyed. They've literally cut every ounce of fight out of me. I'm no good to you. Go look for help somewhere else. And then when it gets at your level, the people above that will be saying, but hey, I'm all right, Jack. I'm all right, Jack. I get up. I have my breakfast. I go to work. I get paid. Everything for me is all right. So I'm just going to keep voting them in again. That's why we're in the predicament, and that's why we have the problems that we have right now. So my ultimate question is, because it will come around again, would you vote the same again and for the same people and the same parties that got re-elected? Would you do it all over again? That's the $1 million question. That's the question that only you can answer. And if you keep answering yes, I would keep voting the same, well then nothing is going to change. I personally think, as you've seen on all my TikToks, I think we're in a world of trouble. I think we're less than 6 months of something majorly catastrophe going to happen in this country. I think something huge is coming down the line. I think our government are going to come under immense pressure. I think people are at boiling point because the smart people who say, I'm okay, Jack, are now realizing, well, my 18, 19, 20-year-old kid has nowhere to live, nowhere to rent. It's got to move, got to emigrate, got to go. I have 2 kids. They're both going to be gone in 5 years' time. And I think more and more people are seeing that. I think more and more people are going, how can we not help? Even though we've been screaming this for 3, 4, 5 years, how can we not help our own, but we can help hundreds of thousands of others coming into the country. I think we realised the scam. Well, especially when the government started off by saying 60% were illegals coming into the country, and now they're saying it could be up as far as 90%. When we have so-called politicians saying, I know how we're going to solve all this knife crime. Let's come out with knife surrender bins. Well, that's a fucking great idea, isn't it? Let's just put little bins around a city and go, by the way, if you're heading out tonight in town and you've got a machete stuck in your pocket, would you mind dropping it off in this bin before you do anything? Really appreciate it. Knife fucking surrender bins. That is the level of intelligence and competence that we have running this country. I fucking give up. Anyway, I go back to my original question. If you knew then what you know now, would you vote the same as to how you did back in November? Answer in the comments. Let me know what's going on. By the way, check back on the video there, the second last video I did. I think when you mention a couple of the so-called elite people in the country, in the world, it tends not to go out in the algorithm. So have a little look back on something I did on, I better not say it, but it's am I a man? Am I a woman? No, I could be one of the 78 other options. Have a look back at that video. Might give you a little bit of a giggle. But for this one, let me know. Would you vote the same? Yes or no? Can't wait to see.